Okay, guys, another addendum to the devil's details. This one I mentioned it right at the end of the last devil's details. Something I'm going to be implementing something new into the programming. As you guys know, I'm always tinkering with the programming, always trying to get better as I have more and more evidence for what works and what doesn't, and what works best and what works not as good. Trying to always incorporate that new found knowledge. And one of the things, when people do their own programs, when people are peaking for a contest or an event or a season, there's often known in the programming world what is known as a deload week, when you're going to dial back both the intensity, and by intensity I mean both just how hard you're going and also to the amount of weight you'd be using. That's when we talk about intensity and weightlifting. It's how much weight you're using, how close to your 1 rep max are you moving weight with. And then also the volume, and volume being the sheer number of reps you're doing in any given workout, in any given week, that kind of thing. Because when we work out, we're training the body, but we're breaking the body down, right? We're breaking the body down, the tissue, we're draining the body's energy systems. When we get better is when we allow the body to compensate and then overcompensate for the training effect we've had. So that is what a good rest day is for. And that would be what these deload weeks are for. It's just letting the body still train, still pump blood through the muscles, still working those muscles, but in such a way that your body gets a chance to kind of reset. Or when they're doing this before, if you're doing this before an event, you want to allow your body full recovery, so you maximize the gains you were getting from all that training you're doing. So now instead of 100%, you're at like 102%. You're at that new 100% level for you. The reason I haven't done this yet as part of training is because I am programming for all you guys. I'm programming for class, for all of us in any given week. And in any given time, we all are at slightly different stages of our training. Yeah, some of us may have been hitting it hard for the last month or 2 months, but some of us are coming back from vacation. We've been on a business trip. We were sick. All other kinds of stuff factor into that. And so I've thought in the past, so I'm going to program a deload week right when some people are ramping up. Yeah, a lot of people may need it at that time, but not everybody does. So in the microcosm of 1 week, I've often used Thursdays for this. Thursdays is the day, always has been the day we have our lowest attendance. And I can tell you across the industry for CrossFit gyms, that's pretty much the case. Thursdays are the lowest attended day. So kind of like the most common rest day. You see that, and Sundays, because a lot of gyms don't have Sunday as an option. We do, but a lot of gyms are just closed on Sundays. So it's a forced day off that way. But I've decided I think we can do it better. I don't think that's bad. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's broken. I think I can maybe do this a little bit better. And for the sake of longevity, as you guys know, I preach that having a high level of fitness through your whole life, there are a couple things that are really important to that. One is obviously consistency. You've been listening to me for any time at all, you know I'm talking about being consistent as much as possible. Coming regularly to class, week in, week out, month in, month out. But the other thing, is allowing the body to recuperate. And I think knowing you guys, we are all hardworking CrossFitters. Sometimes we have trouble knowing when I should dial it back for a little while. We start getting antsy, or it's a good workout I want to go hard on, and there's other people going hard on it. And by nature, I'm going to do that too. That's the beauty of class. That's the beauty of that peer pressure in class, as we all want to work hard together. And so I thought, if I can do this right, it'll still be workouts that are effective. It'll still be workouts that you're going to get the blood up, blood pumping, you're going to get sweaty, your heart rate's going to get up, but you're not going to get as sore. It's not going to be as taxing on the joints, and it's not going to be as much volume that tears you down through the week. It's going to just be at 70, 75% of what we might normally do. And I will say that if I didn't tell you guys I was doing this, you might not notice. If I do it right, my goal would be you might not, in a sense, notice. You would maybe notice that we're not going to do as much heavy lifting during the off week. We aren't going to do as much complex movements. It might be more of the workouts, a lot like the sweat option. And as you guys know, I provide the sweat option. So at any given time when you're feeling beat up, you can go to the sweat option and do that, which you guys know too is not easy, hard work, but something you can do when you're really sore, when your joints are achy, when you're just feeling a little run down, you can still get a workout. So maybe it's like a week of sweat option workouts. So what I will do on these weeks when I do this, and I'll announce it in the box report. So the first one I'm going to do will be next week, starting basically on Tuesday next week. It's a little bit different. We'll be doing the quarterfinals workout starting on Thursday through Monday, and then the rest of next week will be our first deload week. And my plan is, having looked at the calendar through the end of the year, so we're going into May, we're going to do about 6 more deload weeks in between now and the end of the year. So not every month, a little bit more than that, every 5 to 6 weeks. And I'll put it in the box report. So if you guys care, you can know that's what's coming up. Know that's on purpose. But what you may notice in this is, so yeah, every time this happens, I'm going to lighten the loads. Not that I'll get to this in a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we will lift some heavy weights in a very specific way. You will see an increased number of gymnastic, aka body weight movements, but some of the more accessible ones, not the ones that are as technical or as hard on the body. You'll see that all the time. I wanted to go over other factors you may see on any given one of these weeks. You're not going to see this every time when I do a deload week, but stuff you will see. As I said, increased variety of gymnastic movements. A lot more air squats, sit-ups, push-ups, that kind of basic stuff. You're not going to do 500 air squats because that, again, we're dialing back the volume as well. But yeah, those kind of basic movements that we can always all get better at. You'll see an increase in the number of monostructural movements. Monostructural, again, being running, rowing, biking, jump rope. So in any given week, we're going to have those anyways, but you might see in a given week, we might row 2 days and run 2 days. Not that we never do that in the past, but this would be more on purpose. With that in mind, I'm allowing you to just kind of pump blood through the body, but we're also not going to do like a 10K. But yeah, you might see a few more 400s in one workout, and then some 200-meter runs in the next. There'd be some 500-meter rows in one workout, and then maybe a 1,000-meter row in the other workout. You would see more midline work, and midline, again, being your core, abs, and your spinal erectors, the back area, the middle of the body. That's something I think we can always use more work on. That part of the body is meant to kind of always be stabilizing. So in that same vein, I would program more isometrics. Isometrics being like planks, holds, that kind of stuff. That allows the muscle to work, but we're giving the joints a break. You might occasionally, I'm sure this will be popular, see an arm day. Again, going back to my old meathead days, you might see a day that is more dedicated to arm work, something we do very little of. And so just for variety, deload week might be a good week to throw in some bis and tris. Yeah, you'll see me avoid movements that are joint demanding. You're not gonna see squat snatch. You're not gonna see a heavy clean and jerk. You're not gonna see muscle ups. That kind of stuff that really is pushing on the joints. You're not going to see handstand push-ups. During the deload week, I'm going to give the joints a little bit of a rest as well. You also, and we do this regularly enough anyways, but you'll see an increase in the frequency of the stretching we do after class. We do that a couple times a week anyways, but I know, like, for instance, next week, for deload week, that is a 6-day week, we're going to be doing stretching 5 of those days. So we'll be doing that a lot more. Again, just trying to get those muscles loose, a chance to build them back up. If there is strength work, it would tend to be more upper body. And again, it'd be like next week, we're going to do some decently heavy dumbbell bench press. Something that I think, again, we don't do a lot of, but you can do that. I don't think it's too stressful on the joints. And I also am limiting, you're only getting to about 75% of your 1 rep max. So nothing in that 85 and above range. And in general, in a deload week, you're not going to see 85 and above percentages on any lift. And especially being those, we're not going to squat heavy. We're not going to deadlift heavy. If we deadlift, it would be a medium to light load with a medium range of reps in a workout. You'll also see something you'll see more of in the next month anyways, but you're going to see more sled work and more carries. We can always do more carries and more sled works. It lets the body work as a unit, kind of like monostructural work. It's just a good way for the whole body to work its work capacity. That is also not very hard on the joints. It's not going to leave you very sore, but it's going to allow you to get some good work in. So that's kind of like, you'll see more kettlebell work. You'll see more dumbbell work, that kind of stuff in the deload week. So we're going to give this a shot. I will play with it each time based on what I've learned so after next week, based on comments I get from you guys, as I observe how it worked out, I will be fine-tuning this as we go forward. So let's give it a shot. I will really want your guys' feedback, since this is something new I'm trying, and that's why I wanted to preface it with this episode, just to, you guys can consciously know what I'm doing, so maybe be thinking about it a little bit more as you're going through next week's workouts. All right, I think that is it on this one. Next week, we'll be back to Devil's Details. It will be number 14. We will be 2/3 of the way through my 21 Devil's Details. Time flies when you're having fun. That one is going to be, the name of this rule is don't be lazy. And this rule is actually directed back at myself. I am not talking to anyone else except myself, and I'll expound more on that next time. All right, guys, see you in class. Quarterfinals should be fun. Looking forward to seeing what the workouts are on Wednesday.